What's holding you down? I ain't like others. Don't let them hold your ground. I am in the summer sky. I am hearing all the lies. Round and round we go, losing self-control. I keep telling myself, but I don't wanna let you know. Is this what we become? Strangers on the run, looking for something, chasing the sun. All those days trying to find a place where you only can just be alone, be alone. All those nights lying by your side, like it's a vibe, feeling it shine under your spotlight. Like it's a vibe under your spotlight. That's the way every day goes. Looking back, I know we started falling. We were falling in love, yeah. Took my heart and you rode off. Was I feeling never enough for you, baby? When you left me chasing you, chasing you. Trying to find a place where we can be alone. All those nights lying by your
What is going on, traders? How we doing today? We got 24 of you in the building. What's up? The only Pingu, how you doing? Candlestick, what's up, bro? The Alpha Husky, Cuban Trader, Oscu, welcome back to stream. How we doing today, guys? It's Saturday. What a crazy freaking week we had. All the gorillas with AMC, they're pretty happy, right? How we doing? Throw a 1 in the chat if you're having a great Saturday today. Nice weather. It's hot outside. Absolutely. What is up, Playa Cheetah? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Love to have you here. Mr. Right Now, how are you, sir? There's some ones. Woo! There's some woos. All right. We have Florida on standby. All righty. I'm going to be jumping in the chat with them very shortly. And we'll get things going here, all right, guys? The Alpha Husky just woke up, didn't sleep for 2 days, so it's hibernating with my Huskies. It's too hot for them today. Nice. That sounds awesome. Sounds like it's really hot wherever you guys are from. No, that's funny. Glad you guys had an awesome day. All right, guys, we have a great trader for you today, okay? Recommended by Mando Trading. Mando said he was going to be in the chat today, so if you see Mando, maybe you guys can gift him a sub or something like that. That'd be awesome. All right, thank you guys for all the new follows and the subs that you guys are sending in, like Screw, BNV, Zaki Chan, Atomic, Mystic, Ange, and all the reds. We got Maple Stacks too. Thank you guys so much for the follows. You are all legendary. Yeah, there's Mando right there. What's up, Mando? How you doing? Alrighty, guys. Without further ado, hang on. I just gotta set up my speaker on my end here. 1 second. Okay. Whoa. Why is there a commercial playing on my speaker? Hang on. What the hell was that? 1 second. Something was just automatically playing right now. Okay. Sorry. I swear, this never happens. It's Never happened. Okay, let me switch the screens here, and we'll turn on the music as well so you guys can hear him nice and clear. Okay, there's his Twitter, guys. If you want to go and give him that follow. Alrighty. Sweating. There we go. Thank you, Cuban Trader, with the gifted sub for Mando. Hell yeah, we love to see that. Alrighty. Let's get Mr. Florida in here for a nice chat. All right, guys. Gotta turn off the music. Boom. There we go. You can unmute now, Florida. How are you?
Hey, everyone.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. That's perfect. You guys can hear me in the chat, okay? Just throw a 1 if y'all can hear them. How you doing today, Florida?
I'm doing great. Just, living the life down here in sunny South Florida. How you doing?
Man, let's go. I'm good, man. I'm up in the great north in Canada, so we're all locked down and stuff. But, I'm planning to have a little campfire tonight, kind of chill out Saturday, beers and all that stuff. So, loud and clear? Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. Yeah, so, beautiful weather today. How'd your week go this week? You make some good trades. Was it a good week for you in general?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good week. I made some trades in oil and energy. It's where I've been focused a lot lately. Definitely scalped some Roblox. Scalped GeoGeo. Basically, I follow a lot of the options flow, so that's kind of where I look for my weekly scalps or day trades. But also do a lot more sort of call it like quarterly swing trades.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that's awesome. Before we get quite into your trading style, I want to hear more about that for sure. I just asked this to all my guests. I think it's kind of fun. How did you first get into trading? Like for me, you guys all heard the story before, but me and one of my buddies at one of my jobs before, he introduced me to trading. He's like, all you gotta do is buy the SPY and wait, and you get the dividends, and the SPY it goes up 10%. You just gotta wait. So I was like, sweet, I can quit my job now, right? So what's your story?
So I first started trading when I was 16 in school. We had a project in one of my classes that was all about the stock market. Back when you actually had to like look up the stocks on paper or in the newspaper, back when AOL had like one of the best like stock market like web functions out there. So real old school stuff, but started then and then just kind of got hooked on it and then traded off and on throughout my teens and 20s and kind of took everything back over after I decided to quit my previous career and go into this.
That's awesome. So what made you decide to finally what were the qualifications that you had to meet in order to quit your career and to do trading full time?
So there's a lot of things. Everyone puts a different. Some people put a capital number on there.
Yeah.
Like I've heard people say, "Oh, when my portfolio hit the $250,000, I'm going to go full time." I didn't do anything like that. By the time I decided to go full time, I had been trading so long that like I didn't really necessarily like have like a capital requirement or anything. I just at some point decided I enjoyed trading a lot more than I used to work in politics.
Okay.
I enjoyed trading than I enjoyed politics at that moment, and decided to call it quits, move out of DC, and just go into the lifestyle, understanding that when you go into it, everything is on you.
Yeah.
There's no more boss to blame unless you're going to look in the mirror. But it was just for me, it was just something I was just ready to sort of leave that rat race and as I say, semi-retire.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome, man. So, trading is obviously, you're kind of running your own business, right? Like you work for yourself, make your own hours. Have you always been kind of like a sort of an entrepreneurial kind of mind?
I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My father, my uncle, my grandfather all owned businesses, and
Wow.
and still do to this day. And I quasi kind of help them out from time to time. But yeah, I think you've got to have either like an entrepreneurial spirit or maybe you really love the adrenaline of gambling.
Right, of course. Um, yeah, 100%, man. I totally agree. Let's dive a little bit into your trading style. How long did it take you to figure out, how you kind of like to trade? What, you know, as far as I know, you're big into options. So, like, what kind of geared you towards that? And what types of trades do you like to do? Are you more of a swing trader, more of a day trader, and what's your strategy behind that?
Sure. So I traded commons, like everyone kind of I think starts out doing for a while when I first started getting into trading, because I had a different pace of trading, where I was willing to be kind of like a long-term investor, buy, sell buy, sell it every year or two, avoid all that stuff. And then when I started to really dive into it and understand it, um, options were pretty unpopular when I started. They were kind of seen a little bit as like an OTC market, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but
Hmm.
there's a certain light that people shed on the market, on the OTC market, at least when I started trading. Um, but basically, like I got into the options because I started to understand the leverage they give you, and once I understood basically like, okay, so an option is basically giving me the leverage I need without having to tap into a margin account. Because if you understand what an option is, it's the rights to buy or sell 100 shares of the underlying stock. So every contract is 100 shares. And when that sort of set in, and I understood what it like gave traders the leverage to do, I really just dove into them hardcore. And then over the years, and this part's strictly my opinion. I am under the belief that there is no way for the retail trader, meaning most of us here on the call today, can compete with institutions without options. There's a lot of people who will say I'm wrong and I'm stupid on that, and they're probably right. But in my opinion, you can't compete with Goldman Sachs without an option.
Gotcha. No, yeah, totally agree. Um, yeah, no, that's really interesting. So, there's a lot of we got 54 viewers in the house, by the way, just to let you know. I don't know if you have the Twitch pulled up, but yeah, that's really great. Thanks for everyone for coming out today. I'm glad we're getting a lot of support here today. That's awesome. Um, so, do you have any? There's a lot of traders, especially in my community. Especially going in, once we had that kind of market sort of coming, to the bear side in March. A lot of traders kind of switched to options because we could play puts and stuff like that without being in margin. So now I have a lot of traders in my community that are very interested in options. It's a great way to grow a small account, but the problem is a lot of people with small accounts don't really know how to trade them. What do you have as far as advice or information that newer traders in options can sort of look towards for help?
Sure. So I kind of anticipated that was going to be, one of the one of the questions we were going to get about options.
Yeah.
So I did pin a tweet to my account and tweet it out about 10 minutes ago. So there's two really concepts I would recommend. One is there's two YouTube channels. One is Tasty Trades, which is the owner of the Tastyworks platform, which is the options platform that I prefer to use. There's no free link for stocks or anything like that, so don't think that I'm not doing it for that purpose. Tastyworks is actually designed primarily for options traders, so it's the platform I prefer to use. I've used Webull and all of those, but they've got a really good channel on Tasty Trades on YouTube for education, and then there's another one called Project Finance. Those are two really good resources from just free YouTube to start with. I would say the other thing to do is go to TD Ameritrade Think or Swim, and you can set up an account there. You don't have to fund it, but they have a paper trade option platform that you can use. They're going to give you about $2 million in your paper trade account, which is great because you can, go spend $2 million. I would encourage you, if you're going to go into the Think or Swim platform and paper trade, to learn how the options work. play with it realistically. If you're going to set up an account for $5,000 with options, then only play with $5,000 of paper trading money and learn both sides. You mentioned it. Being a bull and buying calls is great, but the one thing you have to understand with an option is it's a derivative. So when you buy to open an option, whether it's a call or a put, and we all know that a call, you're betting for the stock to go up, and a put, you're betting for the stock to go down. However, in the options world, buying to open either one of those is actually a bullish play. And the reason why is because when you buy to open, you control the exercising of that option. So even though we all like to think of going short or being a bear as sort of maybe negative on the stock or negative on you've lost conviction, it's not. It's more of you're opening up a put to capture money and profits on the downside. So just one more thing on the puts. One thing for a lot of traders that I've been getting questions about, that I've been working with a lot of the people that I trade with in the community, is you can be long on NEO or CCIV or DraftKings or pick any stock out that you like and still buy a put just to capture money while the stock is consolidating, while it's getting beat up, and then take those profits from that options put and roll it into averaging it down. So when you see everyone start saying, buy the dip, and then 3 days later we're all saying, I can't buy the dip because I don't have any more money to buy the dip. Well, if you're trading puts, you're capturing money on the way down. So you're essentially getting the stocks, the commons you already own for free, and you can buy the dip.
Right. So you're kind of offsetting your loss into buying the dip later.
Correct. So I try and look at it as I try and play with as much house money as possible while I'm trading. So what that means is every year or every month, or pick your refresh target and go, okay, if I started off the month with $5,000 in my account, my goal is to, by the end of the month, obviously, let's say double the account, and then the next month, only bet with that house money. So that way, it's a little less painful if you guess wrong on options, and it's sort of, to me, like a fun, like, challenge for myself. Can I just keep making money with basically the like I said, the house money, and not have to touch my own capital?
Gotcha. No, that's really smart. We got Olski with the diamond brain emote in the chat. Love to see that. So let's say you're looking at a stock to trade it, okay? Let's say it's a swing trade, something like that. You're going to play a put or a call, either way. What kind of factors or contributing, points of your analysis are you looking for to take that trade as far as like confluence?
Sure. So there's a couple of ways that I'll enter a trade. One is basically, like everyone does, pick your chart style. I don't care what your favorite indicators are. Whichever ones you know the best are the ones you should go with. That doesn't mean don't learn all the other indicators. Get out there and learn them. But go with the ones that you know the best, and you can purely trade it off the chart, whatever your style is. I look for a lot of volume on the candlestick volume. I look at the volume shelf because I'd like to see we're at a support level or something of that nature. Are we hitting the resistance? And then I also like to play 20 and 50 and 200 EMA moves. And then the other thing that I play for how I'll enter a trade, if it's not TA based, is flow. So what I mean by that is we've all probably heard of dark pool prints or usual options activity. If you follow me or even seen any of my tweets or a bunch of the other option traders out there, a lot of us will use different flow tools. Maybe you all have heard of Unusual Whale as well. So I've used that tool along with Flow Algo, Black Box Stocks, and then with the rise of retail in the last 2 years, there's a lot more of those tools coming on the market, so I'm constantly evaluating them. But I'll look there. So I mentioned earlier when you said, hey, how was my trading week? I made money off the stock GO. Couldn't tell you what they did. Mm-hmm. Couldn't tell you the name of the company. Didn't even look at the chart. Didn't even blink at it.
Right.
Saw the flow, saw how unusual it was, saw the amount of premium they were spending, saw the time frame, and saw that they were sweeps. And when I noticed what it was, there was no way this was retail. So in all honesty, I blindly jumped in on 5 contracts and, printed them 4 days later.
Wow, that's really interesting.
I don't recommend everyone doing that.
Of course, yes. Wow, that's very, very cool. So that's a few things that you're looking for to take into kind of like a swing trade. Do you day trade as well?
Yeah, you won't see me post my day trades.
Okay.
Strictly because with options, I could be like I day traded AMC, not last week, but the week before. The premiums just got too high for me this week, guys. I hope you all made money, but the premiums were just too high for what the IV was. But no, I was in and out of like 7 or 8 AMC trades, and I think the longest trade I was in was like 28 minutes.
Wow. Okay. And you won't post those. You'll kind of take those on the side, but that's fair. We're not expecting everyone to post all their trades and that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I don't post them strictly because one, by the time I enter the trade, I watch it, I post it, you see the post, and you get in. I might be posting 2 minutes later, I'm out, and that's the only reason why. It's I post more of my like longer swings just because I'm more comfortable with like everyone's skill set being able to hold an options contract for 2 months than someone understanding how to get in and out of an options contract within 5 minutes.
Right. And I think that is a big issue. I think there's a few guys in the chat who are in Manziel's options trading group, and I've heard some feedback from that before that he's just so quick, right? And he's day trading, so it's really hard to kind of jump into that play and get the same amount of gains that he's getting. Because it's just so fast. Like you might buy something and sell it like you said, like 2 minutes later, and to get like his exact entry and exit or your exact entry and exit, you really got to be on that trigger, and to do that, you'd have to have hotkey set up or some sort of strategy and kind of know a lot about options already.
You definitely would, and I would also say too, like the difference before you start to day trade options. Also is if you're getting into a common, you might wait, say, 2 hours for it to move. Like, what was it? RMed.
Yes.
RMed on Friday was moving pretty good.
Yeah.
And it was kind of chugging its way along, going up $1, every, hour and a half kind of.
Yeah.
Well, if you're trading the commons on that, you had an hour. If you bought 100 shares, you had an hour to make $100. If you're trading options based on the way it was moving, you could have been in and out of that trade 6 times within an hour and made the same $100 each time that you would have made if you swung 100 shares of the stock.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to kind of shift things a little bit over to sectors. I know you really like oil and energy. You mentioned earlier in the interview. Do you want to talk a bit about that and where you see it going?
Sure. So the way that I really try and use, I guess, my Twitter account and when I'm like talking to like the group that I trade with about options when they're trying to learn about them and stuff is I focus on the sectors, specifically in the S&P. Sometimes we'll talk about, the triple Qs or something as well. But the reason why is just because they're safer options for beginners. Because as opposed to trying to be a stock picker and going, oh my God, do I bet on ExxonMobil or or Chevron? You can buy the XLE, which 45% of the XLE consists of those 2 stocks.
Right.
As you get more comfortable, be a stock picker. You definitely will make more money being a stock picker playing options than you will being an ETF sector trader. But in the beginning, they move a little slower. Because of that, you don't have to, sit there and try and learn everything as quickly. The reason I focused on oil is because I'm a big fan of doing historical analysis. So in my previous job when I was in politics, I did a lot of data analysis on voters and polling and helped politicians figure out key messages and where we needed to get to. So I've always loved data. And I've gone back and I started to do some historical analysis last year, towards the end of the year, looking at comparing what we just went through to what we went through in 0809 with the housing crisis. And I saw some very similar patterns, that for me let me know that oil was going to be pretty bullish. And then when I saw it outperform in Q1, oil and finance, energy and finance were the top two performing sectors in the S&P. If I'm remembering correctly, I forget which one was 1 and which one was 2. And historically, when a sector that was the underperformer in the previous year is the leading performer in Q1 of the new year, those sectors go on to lead for the remainder of the year.
Wow, okay. That's a whole lot of information. No, really good. So when you're looking for, your next play, how do you start your due diligence, kind of your DD on that? Like you seem to know a lot. Where do you look to get your information?
So I use a lot of different tools. This should hopefully not be a surprise to anybody, but I don't use Twitter, actually. Mm-hmm. I don't mean that in a mean way, but I stay away from the Twitter for the DD part, and I go strictly to kind of legit. I don't know if this is going to sound mean, but like legitimate news. Like I go to Bloomberg.
Yeah, of course.
I go to CNBC. I do pay for some subscription services from some institutional level research. I use tradingeconomics.com, investing.com, and what I do, and I just go and sort of start to go and look for all those and read through all those articles and just look for diamonds in the rough. And then I also listen to what sort of the sentiment is. And it also will depend. If I'm looking to go long on something, like I can tell you I've been pretty long on XLE. Mando can talk about it as well. But Mando and I were talking last week, and I said, hey, it's probably time to start looking at OIH. And OIH is the oil services ETF. So think of it more as like the maintenance of the oil infrastructure. And sure enough, Friday morning, OIH was halted. And it was halted because they have $2.9 billion under management, so $3 billion. And Friday morning, between I think 9:30 and 9:45, they had 293 million inflows. So what that says was basically that ETF grew by 10% of assets under management in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you. That to me says big money, because while I've been very successful, I can assure you it wasn't me who dropped $293 million, and it definitely wasn't a combination of me and Mando. So that tells me that's institutional money. So I started looking at OIH. I started looking at all the holdings under OIH, and the easy way to find the holdings of any ETF is go to Google, type in the ETF ticker, and then just type in the word holdings, and you'll see every CNBC, Bloomberg, they all will have it listed. Pick a link you like and go to town. And then I start to look at the charts. And the way that I'll do it is I zoom out first. I'll start with the monthly, and I'll look just back over the last 2 years. And then I'll start to work my way down to maybe the daily. And that's when I'll start to look at which plays I want to enter. Okay. And then from there, I'll start to monitor flow, either through Flow Algo or Unusual Whales, and then I'll make my decision. I can tell you right now, I'm starting to look at banks. The ETF sector to look at would be XLF, and I'm also starting to look at airlines and cruises, but those are more long-term plays where I wouldn't look to get into those until maybe a little closer to the end of summer or early fall. Just depending on also how we see COVID go. Should there be a resurgence in the fall? I'm not an epidemiologist. I couldn't tell you.
Right. Okay, so we have 62 viewers in the chat. I just want to show it real quick. Thank you, Kansas, for the gifted sub to Queen of Divergence. Let's go! Woo! Thank you so much. I appreciate the support, guys. Thank you for all the new followers coming in. If you guys have any questions for Florida on options or sectors, oil, energy, any of that stuff, feel free to type them out in the chat and I'll read them out. Otherwise, we're going to keep going here.
Sorry, I just saw Mando's comment. Yeah, XLE, OIH, PBR, XOM, XOP. Those are all great oil and energy tickers as well.
Okay, no, yeah, that's great, and this is all kind of new to me, traders. I haven't really traded oil before, and like I just said on Twitter Friday, I'm finally long on XLE, so I put a contract in for that, a couple contracts. So I'm part of the oil gang now. Let's go.
Way to go, Mando! Thanks for converting them.
Yeah, it's not a cult. It's not a cult, right?
No, it's only a cult if we want it to be. No, I just like playing the sectors just because right now it's to me that's just where the money's got to go, and especially just for energy as well. Big institutions are still underweighted. Now we saw on Friday, I think they're starting to move, but they're still drastically underweight energy and oil.
Okay, got you. And is that one of those, like, I don't know just because I haven't played the sector, but is that one of those industries that is still recovering from COVID, or is it just still grinding?
No, it's definitely recovering from COVID. I mean, think about it. During COVID, actually, I don't mean during COVID was the first time we had oil prices go negative as far as I believe that was the first time ever. And, then as COVID started to kind of move forward and the economy rebounded, you saw oil bounce back a little bit.
Right.
Then you see oil's been beaten up for the past couple of years as well because of the whole ESG movement. But now it looks like people are starting to have to rotate back in, especially when you had Engine One just get 3 board seats on ExxonMobil to basically kind of push these big energy companies into the green future. And the other reason I'm okay with sort of looking at those things is I have no proof or a crystal ball for this, but I kind of look at it the same way that I look at when people talk about EVs. Do you guys expect Ford and GM to just roll over and die? And I would say the same thing. Do you really expect Exxon, Chevron, Mobil, companies that produce billions of dollars and some of these people make hundreds of millions of dollars a year? They're not just going to roll over and die as the world changes. I mean, not all of them will, but a lot of these guys will adapt.
Got you. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Like, the company's not just going to fold, right?
Yeah. Ford's not going to wake up and go, you win, Tesla, we'll go home.
Yeah, all right, we'll pack it in. Enjoy, have the market, it's yours. Do you have a question here from Olskew? Have you tried doing other options tactics like Iron Butterfly? Do you know what that is? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so there's a lot. So options are derivatives, and you can set them up in any form or fashion for the most part to get to where you want the option price to be. So iron condors, iron butterflies, jaded lizard, pardon me, those things, you're basically betting for a stock to either stay consolidated within a range or break out of this range and either be higher or lower. And they're great strategies, but if you don't know what you're doing, they can A, be very hard to execute properly, and B, be very hard to get out of if you, again, don't understand them. But I do use them from time to time. I'll tell you, one of my favorites is actually the butterfly or the iron condor, just given the choppiness and sort of sideways consolidation movement that we've been in lately. But 80% of my trades are probably just straight calls or puts. They print faster. They're easier and more liquid to get out of.
Yeah.
And I don't have to think as hard.
Yeah, keep it simple. I like that. Deb says, should have bought oil and stored it in our garages when they're giving it away.
Yeah.
A lot of buzz around oil energy. CNBC and Kramer talking about it now, says Mando. I just want to shout out the only Pingu. Thank you for the 20 bits, sir. Let's go! Woo! Thank you, Pingu. Appreciate the support, brother. Thank you for the cheers. Just going through some of the chat here. Ford can't die. Their bread and butter is fleet vehicles and trucks. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, definitely type them out in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. Shout out to Mando for joining us today. There's something else I wanted to ask. So the other buzz right now is small caps. Now, do you play any small caps plays, or are you almost solely options?
I'll play the occasional small cap from time to time. It's not really an area I spend too much time, but I'll dabble in them. But mostly, if I'm going sort of like that small cap area, as of late, I've just been more focused on SPACs, just because under NAV, and it's free money, and I do I do think you'll start to see some of these bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are at least legitimate.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you see? I don't know if you can touch on this or not, but how do you think small caps will start to play out in the next few weeks? Do you think they're going to heat up as they have been, or do you think it's going to cool down again? What do you think summer holds?
So I actually think by the end of this month, you're going to see the S&P end right around 4,300. And I think you'll see the Russell chug along with that.
Mm-hmm.
SPY and IWM are the tickers I would look at. So I do imagine that we're going to have a pretty bullish summer. Just, we've all been cooped up. We want to get the heck out of your house. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I actually just want to move just because I feel like I've lived where I've lived for way too long because of the quarantine. I think we'll have a pretty bullish summer. I think maybe once we peak over that, we'll probably have a little bit of a choppy end of summer going into fall, just like we did last year, and then I think you'll see it pick right back up, and we'll finish the year out pretty strong.
Yeah, awesome. That's great to hear for all the longs out there, or calls, right? If that's available for the ticker.
Correct.
We have a question from 50 Cent Dollar. He says, just for fun, what happened when oil went negative? How does that work with options?
So basically, when oil went negative on options, it basically took the price down. So if you were long or had bullish calls or a bullish put, then you were unfortunately SOL, and the capital in which you invested, should you have not have had a unlimited risk play, and I'll explain that in just a moment, you only would have lost the amount of money you paid for the premium. If you had puts or a negative or a bearish call play, then you actually would have made money, and you would have done pretty well with it, except for probably USO, because when oil went negative, USO got really parabolic and had a lot of retail focus, and they actually ended up having to reverse split that stock in order to and change the ETF's governance guideline in order to prevent that from happening. But if you had an unlimited risk play, meaning you sold, I'm just trying to think, you sold a naked position, meaning you had the inverse. So you sell to open a call or you sell to open a put. So if you sell to open a put, which is a bullish play, and you don't cap it with like another derivative to limit your downside, then you basically have an unlimited risk play, because there's there's technically no limit to how far it can drop until it gets to zero. But at that point, your account would most likely have been margin called, or hopefully you would have got out of the play.
Gotcha. That's where putting your stop losses and stuff like that go. And as far as stop losses, when will you stop out of a play? How do you set that up?
So with an options trader, it's a little different, because I'm I'm looking at the time of the contract as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with options, they can swing pretty drastically. And Mando can probably put a comment about this in the chat as well, where in a span of a day, you could see that little sell-off, and you could see your option go down 40%. And then when the reversal hits and the rebound comes, you can see your option be up 200%. So the way that I play options, it really depends on what I'm looking at from a time perspective. Day trades, I will cut at 10% losses. I just don't care. I'd rather get out of it. The market can have my 10%, and I'll go find it and make it up somewhere else. On my longer-term plays, like one of my XLE contracts I was in when we had that sell-off, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? One of my XLEs actually dipped to like negative 50%. Wasn't fun to look at. But as an options trader, knowing how much time I had, keep watching the charts, keep doing your TA, your DD and your TA. I still felt confident and bullish about it. And when I saw the reversal start to kick in, I averaged down on my options, and then I sold out of those on Friday for a profit.
Okay, gotcha. And Mando has 2 points here. Scuba bottom. Oh, sorry, my mouse is in the way. Scuba bottom on the high conviction plays, and he said, "Learn Fibonacci. It helped me so much." Now, is Fibonacci something you use as well?
Yeah, I'm a big Fib guy.
Okay.
I like Fibonacci retracement and extensions, but I've also been really in the past year getting into Fibonacci channels, and I find that when I overlap those with volume shelf and everything, it really seems to hit right on for options.
Wow, that's awesome. I've been trying to learn Fibonacci a little bit. I haven't spent the time to go and fully learn it yet, but from what I can see, it no one says anything bad about it. It seems to work out a lot of the time. I forget the exact why it works. Do you know kind of why it works, Fibonacci?
So one thing really quick. If you go to YouTube and you go to Trading 212, I believe it is. I believe it's Trading 212. It's an English gentleman's channel from that platform, I believe, over there, and they do really great TA videos, and they have a bunch of Fibonacci ones. But basically, the Fibonacci sequence, the reason why people say it's so powerful is because it occurs very commonly within nature and within everything. So even down to the cellular structure of the way you're built, your body is built. Basically, the Fibonacci is the previous number added to the next number. So it's 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, so on and so forth.
Right.
And just because it occurs so much in nature, they say. I mean, that's the gist behind it. But even if you go look at a tree, the trunk, and then it splits into two, and then the two splits into two more. So it's just there's some thing about it with that, but I just know it works.
Yeah, no, awesome, and it, that the evidence is there, right? I don't know. I'm a loss for words. There's so much proof. You see it hitting those lines perfectly. The other question I wanted to ask you, because I've been trying to wrap my head around it myself. How does buying, let's say a large volume of options calls or options puts are purchased, right? How does that affect stock price, or does it, when you buy and you're selling in a large volume for contracts?
So it'll affect the stock price because the market maker might have to go out and purchase those shares to cover, the position they just sold. So that's why you see what happened with AMC, because when you see those large print orders come in, the market maker that's selling them that is going out and purchasing either the shares or rights to those shares to cover that position. So because of that, that's how you start to see volume really spike, turnover really happen. I think that's why you saw AMC trade 600 or 700 million, something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So they actually have to cover some of that to offset their loss. Is that kind of?
Not well to also just keep the books balanced. Remember, they've got
Gotcha.
to be able to close these positions out when they start to get closed out. So if people were to start to close out their calls, you would start to see them release some of the shares as well, just to kind of keep their books alive. It's a liquidity factor,
Right.
sort of like what was that that Robinhood thing a couple months ago when they had to halt trading because they didn't have the money to cover the trading.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've always wondered that. If I buy this call, is it gonna do anything? Like, is it gonna help the price go long in my favor? Is it gonna go against me? Like, I've always been wondering that. So that's kind of cool to see how that works on the back end.
Yeah, so typically, like option prices, options can't move the stock price. Stock prices movements in the stock price move the option prices, but when you start to see large quantities of options, like I think AMC accounted for, I think it was like 20 or 25% of all the options traded last week. When you get to that level, that's when the options can start to affect the stock price, because that's when market makers have to go out and cover and hedge their positions.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Queen said balancing the books. Yeah, that's a great way of. Thank you for. I could have been much shorter.
Yeah.
I just read that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That makes sense. Okay. No. Very cool. Queen was also asking, do you take naked trades or using spreads?
So it depends on what you mean by naked, because buying to open a call is naked, but it's also a risk limited strategy based on my premium. So I will go naked on those type of positions, but you will never see me sell to open a call naked, because sell to open a call has unlimited risk. Because imagine being so confident that AMC was never going to crack $50, and you put on a naked sell to open call option, and AMC ran up to what, 70?
Yeah, went to 72 or something like that.
Something like that. I would, if you had done that, you would have blown up your account unless you
Right.
had a stop loss. And even then, with the volatility of which it was moving, there was a chance it could have just blown right through your stop loss, and at which point your account's a goner. I won't do those. I will do vertical spreads and covered calls and covered puts to collect premiums. I would really recommend, if you're a SPAC trader, or any trader really, but if you're, say, long on CCIV or NEO or Tesla and you own those shares, I would highly encourage you to not only learn options, but learn the covered call and covered put strategies, because that's basically ways to collect premium while those stocks sit there. So you can actually get free shares, and then also to consider what are called leaps, which are options contracts that have more than a year till expiration. A lot of times, once a SPAC or something maybe gets way above a price I'm comfortable with, I will do stock replacements by buying 2-year out calls. So if you missed Roblox at 50, well, you don't necessarily want to chase it up here at $100 a share. Go out and buy long, lead calls or something. If you think there's a lot more bullishness, for it to go, and play it that way.
Wow, so there's a lot of different types of options you can play, right? So you got calls, you got puts. What other types of purchases can you make in options?
So there's only calls and puts,
Right.
but it's because they're derivative. It just depends on how you set them up. So
Okay.
I can do stock replacement, and by going out and buying an option that has a 2-year expiration date on it. So if you were to think about it's June, so June 2021, 22, 20. So think about buying. I'll pick on NEO. Think about buying a 2023 NEO option with the at the money strike price. So the at the money strike price means whatever the stock's trading at today. If you buy that today with 2 years of expiration, you can look at it from a standpoint of, okay, I don't really necessarily have to worry too much because I've got 2 years. So as it goes up and down, you don't have to necessarily like freak out if you go down 30 or 40%, because you've got so much time on it. But the cost of that option is going to be fractional compared to what it would cost to purchase the same 100 shares of that stock and hold them for 2 years. Now, the difference is you get all the benefits and the rights that come along with the stock. So maybe you're a person who owns the stock and the voting rights matter to you. That's the benefit. For me, I don't really care about the voting rights. I don't ever buy enough shares to where my votes matter.
Yeah.
So I'll replace that by limiting my capital exposure and basically being able to buy, let's say, 3 times as many rights to the shares as I would should I have purchased the shares outright. So, for example, say you've got $3,000, you can buy 100 shares of NEO, or for $3,000, I'm not looking at it, but hypothetically, say you could buy the rights to 500 shares of NEO.
Exactly.
So I can play that game and keep my capital there, but have a lot bigger upside.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Any other questions on options before we jump into maybe 1 or 2 more questions? By covered, do you mean vertical, butterfly, condor? I'm not sure.
So a covered call is basically using the shares of the commons you own as collateral against the option purchase. And basically, there's a Tasty works as well, but Project Option or Project Finance. It's a link on the pinned tweet. He actually has 3 really good in-depth videos that go over covered calls, and I would encourage anybody here who's long on some of their stocks, go watch those videos. I think it's probably combined like an hour and a half worth of time, but I promise you, if you go and spend an hour and a half of time and keep going with it, you'll be able to basically get those stocks for free potentially.
Wow, that's really great. This is like a really cool crash course in options for sure. I hope you guys are taking notes because this has been a lot of really good information. So let's take do you trade crypto at all?
Yeah, I'm mostly long on crypto, and I'm very limited in the crypto which I play. It's basically Ethereum's 90% of my holding. Link is the other majority, probably 7-8%, and then the rest is spread out amongst ADA and Algo.
Right, and where do you see crypto going? I know it's kind of down right now. Do you think there's a big bounce coming?
Yeah, I do think there could be a big bounce coming. I do think you'll see some more choppiness in crypto. If we see a big bounce coming, I wouldn't expect it to be the start of a new major bull run. I think we've got one more kind of fake out here to go before we really turn around. But I'll be honest, I'm not I'm not someone who charts crypto like that much.
Okay.
There's actually a Twitter account I would recommend called Delta Gamma Queen. She does a lot of crypto charting, and she does seem to be pretty spot on with it.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. That's for all you crypto traders out there if you're in the chat or listening to this after. Alrighty, I think we're going to start to wrap things up here unless we have any more questions in the chat. I don't see anything. I think we're okay. Deb says, covered calls is an easy way to tiptoe into options, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, there you go. So, perfect. Just let me read through here. Delta Gamma is another GOAT. Yeah, absolutely. Will EV sector, electric vehicles, maintain the hot streak? That's from Mando.
Yeah, I think you'll see some of these EVs maintain a hot streak. I do think you'll start to in the next, I would imagine, call it 2 years. I know that's a long time frame, but I would imagine in the next 2 years you're going to start to see the EV marketplace. The winners are going to start to come to the top. The losers are going to be shaken out. You're going to see some acquisitions. And I would say don't be too bearish on Ford and GM and Volvo and BMW and those names get in the EV space. And when it comes to the newer companies, whether it's a SPAC or an IPO, however they came to market. Listen, do your DD, find the ones you love. Neo CCIV and Arrival are some of my favorites, but keep in mind, they're my favorites now. If in a year something changes and it looks like CCIV Lucid won't make it and they have to get acquired, that's okay with me. But just keep in mind that there's probably going to be some acquisitions here within that space in the next 2 years.
Gotcha. No, that's a great answer. So what do you think, any thoughts in the bio sector as well? Because I know that's been heating up a little bit too.
So yeah, the bio sector, that's an interesting one because unlike a lot of the other sectors where good news for oil kind of moves all the ships up, the bio sector can be a little bit more competitive where good news for Moderna could be bad news for Pfizer.
Right.
So I look at bio as way more of a stock picker's market. It's actually one of the few ETFs on the SPY that I don't play too frequently. I do like it. I'll say there's a guy in my group I trade with on TRT. He's KD Trading. Mando, if you could maybe grab his handle just for everyone, I don't have it off the top of my head, please. I'd be really appreciative. He's in that space, and I'm telling you, when KD dives into a bio stock, his job requires him cutting tumors, so he's super smart.
Wow.
And when he reads bio stocks, he knows what the hell he's reading, and he'll give you a good, honest opinion. He's who I go to. If he tells me a bio stock's crap, he knows more than me. I didn't go to med school. I don't study that stuff, so I'm going to trust him.
Wow. So yeah, whether it's fluff news or serious news, is going to send the stock. There's his handle in the chat, guys, from Mando. He posted that there for you guys, so you can go check him out on Twitter. Okay. We'll take one more question from the Alpha Husky. What do you think of Biogen? FDA decision this Monday on their drug for Alzheimer's. Do you know anything about that, or not really?
I don't know anything about it. I'll
Okay.
look into it, and I'll probably even DM Kevin and have Kevin look into it. But I'll say this, Bio News can move the stock.
Yeah.
So if it is coming out, one thing to pay attention on is go look at the open. If you're curious, go look at the open interest because Biogen's large enough. Go look at the open interest on the short-term option, meaning whenever the if it's due out next week, I think you said. So I would go look at the option for June and maybe July, and go and look at the open interest on both calls and put, and it'll give you a good sense of what the market is thinking. So if you see like, oh my God, the calls drastically outweigh the puts, okay, well that's a good sign. And then if you see like 1 or 2 days before the news is supposed to come out, so if the news comes out on Thursday, let's just say, and between Monday and Wednesday, you see some of these options on the calls or puts start to get crazy, stupid volume.
Right.
And by that, I mean 200 and 300% of what the current open interest is on that day. That tells me that you might want to look into that. If you see puts, that's not necessarily a good sign. And if you see calls, you might be able to rest a little bit easier.
Wow, gotcha. And is that good general advice for playing news and options as well, like on kind of any stock?
Yeah, I always look at open interest and volume. If there's no volume and there's no open interest, there's no liquidity. So
Gotcha.
the market maker might sell it to you, but getting out of it's going to be really hard. So if you don't see that, like we were looking at that bond ETF, BNB or something, I think it was. And I was like, oh, that could be pretty interesting. I saw a lot of dark pool prints on it, like in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And then I went and looked at the options, and the open interest was like 78, and the volume was 0. I moved off. Didn't even bother.
Okay, no, awesome. Got a good question here from Queen of Divergence. Are you looking at the spread there as well between the calls and the puts, and how will this give reference to making a trade?
So typically you want call. So if you're bullish, meaning you obviously want the stock to go up, you typically want to see a higher call to put ratio, and vice versa. And I just look at it from liquidity of the week. So if volume's really low, It doesn't necessarily mean I won't get into it. I just realized I might have to limit the size of my position in order to maintain its liquidity. And then I'll just look for the spikes in that volume. So I'll follow that flow. If I see something crazy come in, like we saw with AMC 2 weeks ago, I jumped on the train and went along with it. But even if volume's there, if the premium's ridiculous and the IV's really, really high, like I think the IV on AMC was like 300-400%, and the option prices were at the time in the $3,000 to $4,000 per contract. Even though the volume was there, I'm not touching that. It's just not worth it. You've got to really understand all the Greeks, alpha or delta, gamma, theta, and vega, to play an option, because they all affect it differently. And you've all played an option where you've seen the stock price go up and you've seen your option price stay flat, if not go down, and you're sitting there getting mad, yelling at the screen saying it's market manipulation. It's not. That's Vega. Vega's decreasing, volatility is decreasing, so the price of your option, even though it's going up, it's not going up at a fast enough rate for Delta to have an impact, and Vega's winning the battle.
Right. Okay. And is there a good place where newer traders can learn Delta and Theta and the Greeks?
Yeah, those two channels that I posted on my Twitter, my account.
Okay.
Those guys have videos on each one of the Greeks that are an hour long. You got to learn them. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. If there's any more questions, you can post them. If not, would you like to shout anything out before you hop off? Like maybe you want to talk about TRT trading or anything you want to mention on the stream today. Will I have you?
Yeah. I mean, I hang out in the TRT Telegram, which is the Rocks Trading Group's Telegram. So if you want to join the Rocks group, he's a great guy for TA. He does a lot of good training courses on that. Give him go do that. Otherwise, just follow me on. You can follow me. Just DM me the question or tweet at me or yell at Mando to get me the question, because I DM Mando all day. So I'm here to help as much as I can. But just go to those videos, learn them, and if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And if I don't know the answer, there's a bunch of option traders I would follow. Theta Warrior, Panda Options, Charting Options, again, Delta Gamma Queen. Those are all big options, people that know what the hell they're talking about. So don't be afraid to follow them either.
Man, that's awesome. And Mando says you have an options course available?
Yeah, I'm getting my options course built. It's going to be very similar to the YouTube channels I plugged, and I'm basically just I'm building my own version of it. I'm going to have like little quizzes along the way, and it's just going to be free. I'll have it posted here probably in the next little bit of time, just trying to get the quizzes and everything right. And There's no paid wall behind it. Just go in, learn, and we can all make some money and hopefully retire.
No way. That is so cool. Thank you so much for doing that. And it's a lot of work, guys, to put that kind of thing together. So I really appreciate that. And I'm sure once it's out and people are hitting those quizzes, that's going to be freaking awesome, man. You definitely want to be following Florida, all right, guys? Everyone in the chat, if you're not, you're almost at 2,000. Let's get them above 2,000, all right, guys? We're almost there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. I think that's great, guys. Who are you and where do we find you? I have him on the screen, Queen of Divergence. That's his Twitter account, OPT_Florida. You can hop on and follow him. Lots of great advice, and all those traders that he said you should follow as well. He's following them too, so you can go through his list. Alrighty, and you can hit him up. Any questions you guys have for options or really anything like sectors, just a wealth of knowledge available for free for us to tap into. So that's really, really cool. Thank you so much for coming on today, Florida. I really, really appreciate that. I hope you're having a great weekend. And any plans for the rest of the weekend? I think you said it was nice weather there, right?
Yeah, it was nice weather. I'm actually going to a barbecue here in a little bit with the neighbors to go and grill some burgers and hot dogs and enjoy the sun. And then tomorrow, back at it. We got to start looking and getting prepped for Monday. So Saturday's our relaxation and Sunday's prep day.
Hell yeah, love to hear that. Nice, man. And we'll enjoy your barbecue. Listen, it's been a lot of fun. It's been great to meet you. This is the first time we've ever chatted, guys. So it was really great to meet you, Florida. And I hope it's not the last time. Well, I definitely have to get you on for a part 2 in the future for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I've attended your Twitches before with Mando and some of the other guys you've done as well, and they're all great. So I'm really glad to meet you now and officially talk. And yeah, for sure, we'll definitely have to do another one of these. Maybe force Mando to come on, so I'm not the only one talking.
yeah, we could do definitely like a little kind of podcast sort of thing. That'd be really cool, I think. Great idea.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was Florida Trading. If you want, you can we can hop out. Yeah, for our face reveal, says Mando.
Come on now, Mando. You know the rule. Mando's not allowed to do a face reveal, guys, until he hits 100,000 followers or $1 million portfolio. So you either follow him or he needs to make some money.
That's right. So yeah, you can donate to the Mando Fund. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it both works. He said 10K followers, not 100,000. Okay, that's straight from Mando. All right, guys. Well, if you want Florida, you keep hanging out, or you can hop off the call. It's up to you. I'm just gonna turn up the music here for these guys, and we'll kind of go through my kind of outro. So I just want to thank you for coming on today. We absolutely love to have you. That was amazing, man. So much information. I'm gonna have to watch this video like 18 times just to kind of get all those notes down. I hope I asked some good questions for you guys to take some notes. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
All right, guys. You're stuck with just me again. I'm gonna turn up the music here. How is that, traders? Let's freaking go, right? Man, the information. That was absolutely nutty. Oh, is Brady live right now, Cuban? Yeah, you guys want to raid Brady? I demand a recount. We're going to kill it this week. Hell yeah, dude. Tommy Two Toes, welcome to stream. We love to have you. Alrighty. Yes, and Rodessa together. Yeah, okay. Let's raid them. I'll put up a little timer because I like to listen to music, and I have an announcement. We'll raid Brady, okay? Because he kind of helped me get things going here on... He helped me get things going on Twitch, and I really appreciate him. So I'm going to give him a raid. I'm just setting up my timer. We'll do 5 minutes, okay? Let me just add this. So please hang out in the chat for another 5 minutes, because I wanna show that we had a pretty good raid. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? All right, let's add this. We'll do 5 minutes, and I have a little announcement as well. The music's for Deb. Yeah, it is. That's why I do it. I can't raid both, unfortunately, but we'll raid Brady, I think. We'll raid Brady today. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should raid Rodessa. Who has less viewers right now? Here, put a poll in the chat if I have a mod here. You guys want to raid Brady, or you guys want to raid Rodessa? Oh, they're together. Oh, and they're on Brady's channel? Oh, you know we're raiding. Oh, heck yeah. All right, traders. Man, that's awesome. Maybe I'll shorten the timer a little bit so we can hop in there. Wait. I'll send you guys there. Hang on. Let me shorten the timer. Okay, we're going to go there in 2 minutes. I just want to make a small announcement, all right, before we head out. Okay, traders? Word on the street, all right? I've been talking to Rodessa, okay? He had something come up for the interview tomorrow, so I'm trying to find someone else, all right? So unfortunately, we're not going to have Rodessa, but Rodessa messaged me, and he got a hold of Tommy Coops, okay? So there's no date or time, no promises yet, but Tommy Coops he said to Rodessa he'll be coming live on stream. Let's go! Woo! If that's not gonna be the most hype stream you've ever heard in your life, bro, bring your shoes, bring your oat milk lattes, bring your fucking your cold showers. All right, this market's gonna get hot, and it's gonna get hotter. Woo! All right, traders. So definitely, you're gonna be able to follow in my Twitter to get that notification, or throw your notifications on here. That's gonna be absolutely insane, dude. That might end up being the longest interview that I've done yet. That's gonna be so much fun. I'm hyped. So Rodessa helped me out with that. He felt bad he couldn't come on today. All right. So next should be RCB. Hopefully, I shot a message out to Rocket, but he hasn't got back to me. That's okay. It's okay. We respect it. He's hustling. He's a busy guy. I love him. He taught me everything I know. So it'd be awesome to get him on here. But yeah, look forward to Tommy Coops, guys. We got about 12 seconds before we raid Brady. Alrighty, traders. He's been sick all week. Yeah, he didn't miss a stream, right? Yeah, I feel bad for him. Hopefully it's not COVID. Alright, guys. What's my Twitter? Here's my Twitter. Okay. Do the Twitter command. He had no voice Thursday. Oh, brutal. There's my Twitter, guys. Definitely hit me up on there if you want the notifications for these live pro trader interviews, okay? Let me get rid of the timer. Alrighty, guys, we're gonna raid Brady. You ready? We're about to get sent over to Brady's stream, and then I'll wrap things up over here. Okay? Let me just type it in. Raid at Brady _Atlas. Okay? Get ready. We're about to fire over there. Just waiting because my keyboard, when I type this in on my computer, since it's Streamlabs and it's glitchy as heck, it just takes a second to pop in. Here, I'll do it on my phone. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm about to raid Brady. Here we go. Launch! I said launch! Where's the launch? There it is. Okay, now it's gonna confirm. Yeah, thanks to Mando Trading and OPT. I promise, we're about to launch. Yeah, I said lunch? No, I said launch, okay? It's 1 sec, it's loading. What the heck? There it is. Okay, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Yeah, exactly, Deb. When I don't want to end the stream, then it ends. Supposedly 10 seconds. 19 viewers are ready to raid. Let's do it. 9 seconds. Count it down. Count it down. Is it just me or these some slow seconds? You know what I'm saying? LMAO, PTG. You said lunch. No. Lunch pad taken off. That's right. It still says 8 seconds, but I don't believe it. I think there's like 2 seconds left. So get ready, guys. It's counting down. We're about to go jump into Brady's stream. There we go. Thanks, traders. Good night. I guess this is still going. So I'm going to end my stream now. Thank you guys for joining me today. This is 100 million with OPT Florida on some options training crash course. Alrighty. Thanks for joining me. 100 out.